Hi, my name is Justin Call. I'm the president of Broomstick Monkey Games, and you're about to watch an explanation of our character cards, basic versus advanced. So we have our two character cards here from the base game, and you'll notice they're the basic cards because we have zoomed out versions of the illustrations, whereas the advanced has zoomed in so you can see their faces really well. You'll also notice the basic characters start with 4 AP, which means when you start the game, your characters, they can make mistakes. You don't have to rush out and immediately grab a strawberry, as opposed to your advanced cards, where you only have 3 AP. So you're going to have to decide which of your characters goes where, and once they pick up their strawberry, they're going to gain their third strawberry power, plus they're going to gain that AP boost. So they don't actually get 4 full AP if you're playing on advanced until you pick up your strawberry. Whereas on the basic side, you basically start with this AP boost immediately, which is more forgiving for casual players, beginners. You don't have to rush out. You don't have to decide, oh, I can only get 2 of my character's strawberries or 1 of my character's strawberries, and that means the other character is going to be a little bit slower to start. Basic side, it's a lot easier to start playing. But as you play the game, you're only going to have 2 powers to work with, 1 to start and 1 once you gain your strawberry. So it's easier to wrap your head around, but it also gives you less tactical opportunities because if you're playing advanced, you start with 2 powers. Even though you have 3 AP, you have 2 powers. So now you have less AP to spend and more ways to spend it, which really expands the tactical dimensions of the game. And then, of course, once you gain your strawberry, you gain your third power and your AP boost. So you'll notice the bard here, he's got a war cry ability. Enemy characters up to 2 spaces away lose a victory point, and it passes through obstacles. So that can be advantageous, whereas this character, the Minotaur, he can flip garden tiles to actually lift up the tile and flip it, and then pieces that are on the tile, like strawberry tokens, character tokens, they remain in the place they were originally on the tile. Like, for example, if we've got these guys here. If we chose to flip the tile, we would flip it the direction the arrow, the line of sight is facing, so we'd take these 2 items off, and then we'd flip the tile like so, the direction he's facing, and we drop the pieces back on. So that's how the Minotaur's Master of the Labyrinth ability works. But you don't get that ability when you're playing basic. You just get the ability of horns and being able to charge people. So less strategic and tactical opportunities on the basic side, but that can be better for people that are new to the game and it's more forgiving. You can't overwhelm them immediately because you know the character's better. Whereas if you played the game before or you're playing with people that are hardcore gamers, you can throw them right in because 3 powers still isn't that much to worry about. Even if you have 3 characters with their own 3 powers and they have their own 3 characters with their own 3 powers, each character card and each archetype is, they have certain things that they're going to be unique, and we're going to be explaining that in more detail in our next video. But the rogues, for example, they're going to be able to move diagonally, and the warriors, that they're going to be able to attack you. So those are the important things you need to keep aware of. Of course, you're going to want to read any characters that are coming out for the first time and get an idea of which characters are new and which characters have powers you're not familiar with. But advanced side is going to be more difficult, but it's also, in my opinion, my estimate, it's going to be more rewarding, and the advanced people that play this game a lot, they're going to be always playing on the advanced side because it gives you a lot more strategic opportunities for how you choose to play the game, as well as drafting. For example, as long as we're into it here, let's see, we've got our sorceress. That's the one I wanted to look at. So the sorceress is a great character. She's got an ability to move people around the board. On the basic side, she can move them once per turn for free and move them 1 space. And then when she gets a strawberry, she can move them up to 3 spaces, 1 to 3 action points. So each action point she spends, up to 3, she may move them an additional space, which means with this free movement, plus it's once per turn, and then spending her own movement, she can move a character up to 4 spaces as long as they're in her line of sight. They have to start in her line of sight here, and they have to start here, but they can be moved outside of her line of sight. So that's pretty great. It's a great, interesting character, and this is her basic side. Plenty of utility there. However, if you're playing advanced, she also has this ability to spend 2 of her action points to move through an adjacent hedge. That can be really useful if there's a hedge next to you and somebody's completely out of your line of sight. But if you could just push through that hedge, then you could manipulate that person and push them 1 step closer to a Hydra and eliminate them, and then they're carrying 3 strawberries and they're dead. Well, if you're not playing advanced, you don't have access to that ability, so things are a little bit simplified. So I prefer playing advanced, but there's nothing wrong with playing basic. The game is still strategically deep, and tactically complex. And I have been beaten by 10-year-olds playing on the basic side. Um, and that caused me a bit of chagrin. But that proves that the basic side is still fun and still presents a lot of challenges. You just have to adapt to how the game is played.